G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of Suffering with Reddit. Let's go! Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she's spoiled and needs to grow up? I met my girlfriend Kate a couple of years ago. We clicked immediately, and shortly afterwards we started dating. We have a very good relationship overall, but there is something that has been bugging me for a while. Our economic status is too different. What a weird thing to say, but go on. Her family runs several stores, pubs, nightclubs, and a hotel. It's not like she's filthy rich, but she's definitely upper middle class. I come from a far poorer background, and my family always struggled to make ends meet during my childhood. Nowadays, I have a job that pays below the average, but my life is pretty decent. Rather than the different economic statuses though, what truly bothers me is how different our perspectives are. Kate is almost like a full-time resident in the hotel, which means the hotel staff pretty much do everything for her. Cooking, cleaning her room sometimes, etc. This drives me insane altogether. She has a house with no maids or staff, but she barely spends time there. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking, and I told her that she needed to stop relying on others so much. She asked what I meant, and I told her that I was really uncomfortable because she seemed too spoiled. She got mad and started arguing. She didn't see any problem in her behavior, while I told her that she needed to grow up because normal people do not have their food cooked just by snapping their fingers. Things escalated, and she asked what was my problem. It's not like I have a problem, but I don't believe you can be an actual adult if you don't do anything by yourself. It's lazy and immature, and in my opinion, not that different from adults living with their parents while they refuse to do any household chores. In the end, she called me an asshole and stormed off. We only talked a couple of times since this incident, but she told me she needed some time for herself to think if she wanted to continue our relationship. She didn't reach out to me yet. Was I the asshole or too out of line? How are you going to make this much of a scene and then say, it's not like I have a problem? It's very obvious you have a problem with this. I feel like I'm being gaslit by you as well. You're the one that's bringing up the issue in this situation, and yet I'm the one with the problem, not you. I don't have a problem with your behavior, you just have problems in general, and I think you need to fix them because you're lazy and immature, okay? Now, let's not break up or anything, I still love you, I just want to say that I despise everything to do with your lifestyle. I get where you're coming from, I do get where you're coming from, but it appears that she may be a trust fund baby. And unfortunately, the reality of life is that life isn't fair sometimes, and sometimes people are just born into these situations, where they get to live as a full-time resident in a hotel with full-time cooking, full-time cleaning, people driving them everywhere. Like, I want to be richy rich, but I wasn't lucky enough to be born into that situation. I'm not going to date someone and then berate them for harvesting the fruits of their parents' labor. She can change if she wants to. It's obvious she doesn't want to change. You've been dating for a couple of years, and yet now there's an issue. Why wasn't there an issue a couple of years ago when you first started dating so she didn't have to waste her time with you? I think you're the asshole here. And now in the comments, you're the asshole. Quote, she didn't see any problem in her behavior, while I told her that she'd need to grow up because normal people do not have their food cooked just by snapping their fingers. Some people do. She does. You're uncomfortable with her being able to afford what you can't, which is neither her fault or problem. Agree with this. OP could possibly feel emasculated or insecure, but it's something his girlfriend can't control. As far as this post tells, girlfriend doesn't complain about OP, so why does he get to have a complaint about her lifestyle? Her money, her lifestyle, her choice to continue living this way. If OP can't handle this, then girlfriend may be on the right path to rethink this relationship. Actually, there is a term that the Chinese say, which literally means knocking at the wrong door. It's usually used on two people who are not a good match in social standing. The girlfriend is right to evaluate their relationship. There is obviously a gap in OP and girlfriend's social status. Mostly, it is not something two people who live or plan to live together get over with. I would suggest OP reevaluate their relationship as well, because this will surely be the cause of many more future conflicts, especially when they decide to have a life together. OP is the asshole, by the way. If you're uncomfortable with your girlfriend's standard of living, that's a you problem. There is no reason why she shouldn't enjoy luxuries such as cleaning and cooking services if she has the means. You're the asshole. I'd be effing pissed if any man told me to fire my cleaning lady or stop sending my laundry out or stop getting food delivered because they simply could not afford the same or to live the same lifestyle. I absolutely know how to cook and clean for myself, but my time is worth more to me than the money it costs to pay for those things. Right here. It's worth it to you to have someone else take care of those things so that you can use your time otherwise. And it would still be worth it if you were just lazy and could afford it. If I could afford it, I would certainly have hired help with all manner of housework. Past, present, and future injuries, the type that needs surgical repair every few years, are my main reason. But I'll confess, sometimes I'd just like to be lazy and F off in bed all day. And now, onto the update. Hi guys, this is going to be the only update. After reading all the comments on the original post during the afternoon, the judgment was pretty unanimous. I was a raging asshole. I dumped all my insecurities on her and spouted some very hurtful things for pretty much no reason. Not only that, but I fully admit that I was really idiotic refusing to see ahead and thinking my opinion was fact. I called her, asking if we could meet later, and thankfully she agreed. I apologized and she decided to break up with me. We talked for a while and things got very emotional. I realized that not only had I been a huge asshole, I had also deeply hurt her. At some point, this went far beyond a different perspectives or different social classes problem and escalated into me attacking her for something that wasn't objectively bad. Also, trying to control something that had nothing to do with me, and again, thinking I had the absolute truth. We said goodbye and will probably be going no contact once things actually settle down. I think I'm going to stop meeting new people for a while until I can figure out my own problems. Some commenters mentioned that it was only a me problem, and I'm inclined to agree. Either way, I think I have to thank all of you for opening my eyes. I wasn't just an asshole, I was the asshole. That is all. Now in the comments, no kidding, you just defined why the poor stay poor. Sociological studies show that it's part mentality and part dealing with the trauma of being poor. The world is not fair. Some have much more than others, and how the rest of us deals with that is what is important. Did you ever consider that maybe your experiences have taught you more of what life is about than hers? Don't feel too bad for her. And OP replies, I'm not sure. To be honest, she's got a pretty complicated life herself, and things didn't really get better until the last few years. I struggled more economically, while she struggled in other parts of her life. I guess it's not better or worse, just different. That was probably the best outcome. Sounds like you both got some closure on the relationship, and now you have time and more perspective, so you can work on your insecurities. Good luck to you both. It's nice to see a poster actually self-reflect. It's best that you broke up as you weren't compatible. This is why you should date in your own socioeconomic groups. Objection, I don't agree with that, but I can see where you're coming from, though I don't agree. Who's to say I can't date a rich older woman, okay? You can't define me, Mr. J the Penguin 48. You think she's lazy and entitled because she can afford people to pay for chores. She isn't. She doesn't want to do them and can afford not to. Your feelings stem from jealousy. I do hope you get therapy. Imagine if everyone acted with that kind of insight when faced with criticism. Lots of people do, but those usually won't make good stories, so you don't hear about them so often. They're also rarely the leaders of our society. Ain't that the truth? This one ultimately ended for the best. Sounds like the dude has a lot of issues to work out on his own, and his ex didn't need or deserve to have that sort of negativity thrown at her. Still, kudos to OP for actually listening to people, calling him out, and realizing that yeah, he really was an asshole. I've found that there aren't a lot of people willing to do that. Hey, whoa, I came here for an unbiased perspective on how I did nothing wrong. Average am I the asshole? I love when they're clearly holding back crucial information or have clearly tried to phrase things to make the other person look unreasonable, but it's still clear how they were the only raging asshole in this situation. It also makes me wonder about the rest of the relationship. He stated that they dated for a few years. I wouldn't assume one single argument would end that long of a relationship, so I wonder what other bad behavior he'd been exhibiting toward her. He seems pretty hung up on the difference in the economic statuses, so I wouldn't be surprised if he'd been making little digs at her the whole relationship. Precisely. I had a boyfriend like this throughout my 20s, and he was always making snide remarks about our differences. Well, not all of us grew up with XYZ, or whatever. I didn't recognize it as an insecurity at the time, so I took it quite personally. Eventually, he cheated with someone that he could better relate to, and that was that. Don't you just love happy endings? Our next post is titled, "Neighbor says she saw my husband cheating." So my husband comes home late most of the time. He usually has many meetings. However, his schedule is flexible, so sometimes he'll come home earlier. A couple of days ago, I was out shopping, and when I came home at around 4, he was there. I didn't think anything of it, and just spent time with him. Yesterday in the evening, my neighbor and I were going for a walk around the neighborhood. While talking, she asked me if I knew. I was so confused. So when I pressed her further, she asked if I knew my husband was cheating on me. My heart quite literally sank at the thought of it, but I didn't believe her. She reassured me and said that being married to a man like him comes with infidelity, and that she has been through the same thing. Once the original shock is over, I'll come to terms with it. I was so confused because she still hadn't given me any proof of my husband cheating, and I got angry that she was just accusing him of things. She then told me that a couple of days ago, at around 11, that day that I went shopping, my husband brought a girl over to our home in his car, and a couple of hours later, the girl left in a different car. She said that from her view, the girl had a similar body type to me and looked around my age, but she had blonde hair. I was and am shocked. I couldn't continue the walk and I went home. My husband came home shortly after. I wish I was better at keeping a straight face, but I just couldn't. He repeatedly asked me what was wrong, but I didn't tell him. He said that he'll get it out of me eventually. The neighbor has always been so sweet to me, but this morning after telling my best friends about it, they believe that my neighbor is lying. We have 2 security cameras that show the driveway of our house. The only problem is that the app is on my husband's phone. He's always extremely transparent. I can go on his phone at any time. I don't check through it, I just search things up if my phone is dead and stuff like that. But if he is cheating, he probably wouldn't let me go on his phone. My husband is huge on loyalty, and he is really possessive over me, so I don't understand how he could be cheating on me. When we're out, he never looks at other women. He isn't even friendly to waitresses or anyone like that. He's always said that I'm his exact type, and I have dark hair. He has always been all over me, but I'm not going to be one of those delusional wives. Do you think he's cheating? If he is, I will leave him no questions asked. Please give me your honest opinions and advice. I am 22 female, and my husband is 34 male. The neighbor is 35 female. And now in the comments, would your neighbor have any motivation to lie and break up your marriage? Why do the security cameras only go to your husband's phone? We had a couple of security cameras and they're linked to both of our phones. And at least with our security cameras, the app only keeps 3 hours of recordings. If it's past that, it disappears. And OP replies, I don't think so. She sometimes asks weird questions about our relationship, but I think she is just trying to bond with me in a way. We're pretty new to the neighborhood. I know it sounds stupid, I never really thought to download the security camera app. I'm not sure if it'll have the recording of a couple of days ago, but I still think I should try looking. You can Google the type of camera you have and see what the storage time is before you ask your husband to see them. And OP replies, thank you. You can tell him the neighbor saw a suspicious car at your house, don't make it about cheating, so you want to review the footage. If he has any resistance, I think it's time to keep a close eye on him. Check first. Ask your husband after. If he is actually cheating and you ask him first, he will delete every evidence that there is. Also, you should have access to the security camera as well, and him being possessive over you isn't a sign of him not cheating. It's actually a bit of a red flag. I'm not saying believe her immediately, but if there is a chance that he is cheating, you should check first. People can cheat while holding your hand, and you can't even tell. Hopefully, your neighbor is wrong. And OP replies, "Thank you for this, and I'm leaning more towards trusting my husband, but I don't want to be delusional whatsoever. Hopefully she is. Look first. If he is, he will delete and deny. You want to trust him, but if your gut is telling you different, you have your answers. You can have the most amazing husband, but can be blindsided. Trust me on this. Look first, don't ask him." And now onto the update. My neighbor lied. I have no idea why. Update 1. He just read the message and responded with the login info. Time to see. Update 2. 30 minutes later. I can't describe how relieved I am. I'm still crying for some reason. I downloaded the app and logged in. Rightfully so, most of you said that the footage would probably be deleted for that day. However, it was still there, because there was nothing to hide. At around 11:06 AM on July 7th, you see my husband pull into our driveway. He exits the vehicle alone. There was no blonde. The only other car that comes to our house is mine at 3:50 PM. I want to update you guys on what happens with the neighbor, but I think I'm going to delete this account. I am so disgusted. I don't know why she would lie to me like that. I'm disappointed in myself for doubting my husband, and I hope he doesn't get angry with me for not trusting him. Update 3, 4 hours later. Most people won't read this, but I just want to put it here. My husband has been worried since last evening, since that was when I started ignoring him, and he said that he will get it out of me eventually. Today he has called and texted me numerous times between his meetings to check in on me, but I ignored everything. When I randomly asked for the login, I guess he got even more worried. An hour and a half ago, he just decided to say F it and come home, even though he still had work to do. I was so scared that he would be mad. When he came home, he was visibly angry and worried. I just told him the truth. I know I wasn't supposed to. Many people said to lie about it, but I just couldn't. I then apologized for not trusting him. He wasn't even angry anymore. He just looked hurt and sad. He said that he could never be angry with me for that, and he will deal with the neighbor. Thinking about the neighbor seemed to make him really angry though. He said that I should eat something, but I told him that I didn't feel like it. He then asked me if I had slept at all last night, and I said no. So even though it's 7:30 PM, I'm in his arms and in bed. I'm finally going to sleep soon. I just wanted to update since a couple of people thought that he would leave me. TLDR, happy ending. I'm not sure what will happen with the neighbor though. And now in the comments. With your neighbor's comments and behavior and the ages of everyone involved, I think your neighbor might be into your husband. If she's blonde, I'm positive. Either way, please get some distance from that crazy. And OP replies, she is a blonde, but the thing is, her body is nothing like mine. Do you still think she was still talking about herself? In a way, since my husband didn't actually cheat. She was 100% projecting this fake woman as herself. Probably to seem more attractive too, because she likes your husband. This is so vile. I hope you confront her. It's a scary thought that the one that we love would betray us. I'm glad the right turnout happened. I'm glad that it's a toxic stranger to remove from your life. That's an easier cancer to cut out. Maybe try to use this as a lesson that maybe you just need more general communication in your marriage. I don't mean that in a bad way. My wife and I decided that together, and not because we were fighting. We started talking more and more, and our relationship grows and strengthens daily. Best of luck to you, OP. Hang in there. And OP replies, you're right. Thank you. I'm relieved for you, OP. I suspected as much because it sounded like she already believed your husband was a cheater, and the facts didn't matter to her until you pressed her on her beliefs. I probably don't have to tell you this, but you should cut contact with her. She's too interested in your relationship, and it's very, very weird that she knew enough details about your lives to be able to come up with this lie in the first place. She knew that you weren't home that day, and she knew roughly when your husband got home. My guess? She's probably the resident pot stirrer and latched onto you because you're a newcomer and everyone else already knows what she's like. And OP replies, I know. This, added on to the questions about how often we have sex and if he gives me affection after, is so creepy. I definitely won't confront or do anything unless he's there, because if he is, then she won't be able to hurt me at all. I really don't want to confront her. I just wish I could avoid. I would honestly never talk to her again. That's not really something you can walk back. And let me guess, she doesn't have many friends around the neighborhood? And OP replies, I don't really know. She actually said to me that most of the women in this neighborhood have experienced the cheating, which means she must be somewhat close to them. I just want to move areas because I never want to see her again, but I obviously understand that's not really possible. And yeah, I won't talk to her again. Or she's the weirdo neighbor that has broken up multiple marriages by lying to the wives. What a terrible neighbor. I believe it though. My mom had a friend who took great delight in telling my mother that my dad has been seen multiple times with a blonde in the passenger seat of his car by her. She even noted the times and places that she had been behind him in her car. Small town. It was our family golden retriever. He liked to sit up in the front passenger seat like a human. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to leave you today. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.